Dear readers and viewers, I am overwhelmed to see your interest. In the first and second part of my video on the adventures of Huckleberry Finn by the great writer Mark Twain. In the first part of the video, I had already narrated that the dominant themes are racism and slavery, Christianity, that is religion, versus slavery, humanity versus inhumanity, romance versus realism, natural virtues versus imposed virtues, hypocrisy of the so called enlightened society. Mark Twain has also added yet another important theme, which is superstition. Superstition is such a theme which is prevalent everywhere in the novel. He wants to show through this theme that how uneducated people are uneducated people believe in superstitions and how they are uncivilized. Huckleberry Finn is a huge novel with multi-layered meanings and themes. Huck has to struggle with his own conscience. He has been taught not to help the slaves, but he ultimately helps. Before describing the themes, we should know something about the good traits of Jim. Jim is an innocent gentleman. He is intelligent. He bears all good characters of an intelligent person. He is compassionate. He is intelligent. He is also very close to Huck, and he is ready to sacrifice his life for Huck. He has a large number of opportunities to leave Huck and go away, escape away alone, but he does not do so. He sees Huck a son in him. He treats Huck as his own son. He never thinks any wrong about Huck or any, or he also does not want to leave Huck alone. All these traits in him makes Jim as a hero. Now we will come to know through the character of Huck how all the themes have been explained so beautifully. Huck has also to face himself the hypocrisy of the society. Huck is tortured by his own father for money. His father belongs to a society which pretends to be free. Widow Douglas asks Huck not to smoke, but she herself takes snuff, a form of tobacco. Both the ladies teach him the values norms of educated society. They teach him Bible and try to civilize him, but themselves do not obey the preachings of the Bible. Jim is a slave and suffers. These women propagate the idea of slavery. Hence, there is a conflict between a sound heart and a deformed heart. Who is having sound heart? Huck and Jim. And rest of the characters are not having sound heart. Like particularly Miss Watson and Lady Douglas, Pap, and even Tom Sawyer, who is a leader of robbers, but they are whites. Here we find a racial segregation and hypocrisy of the so called enlightened society. Mark Twain has defined the idea of civilization practiced by the whites in America. There is a collision between a sound heart and deformed conscience. This deformed conscience is influenced by the laws of society and sense of duties towards those laws. These conflicts remain at the center of the novel. Huck struggles with own internal self and deformed conscience. We see the external and internal conflicts present in the heart and in the mind of different characters. We see a struggle person versus person, that is Huck versus Pap, person versus society, that is Huck versus society, Huck versus nature, Huck versus racism. All these are external conflicts. So there is a constant conflict between inner conscience, inner instinct, and outer world. The preachings of the society, so called civilized. Huck spends a lot of time on the river Mississippi, which is not safe also. When Jim and Huck are on the raft, they are free but face a danger, as the life on the raft is not safe and does not provide large space for freedom, but they enjoy their freedom. There is a great difference between life on the river, which is free through though unsafe, whereas the life on the shore is safe. It is governed by human laws, which is authoritarian and hegemonistic. The life on the raft is free and natural. It is a kind of paradoxical, since raft has a small space to provide freedom, even then it is free and natural. In the 19th century of eastern part of America was civilized and sophisticated, whereas the novel for the first time come from Midwest, which is so called uncivilized. Here, characters are people who are uneducated, unsophisticated, and Mark Twain uses local language to give a local color to the novel. Huckleberry Finn brings two different civilizations to know each other. The issue of slavery finally led to civil war, which began in 1861 and ended in 1865, and finally slavery was banned in the year 1866. The novel addresses some major themes like conflict between self and society. One is constant conflict between Huck and his self. Self means inner instinct with himself, with society. This gives a universal touch to the novel. This is the most important aspect of the novel since the novel depicts here a universal meaning and gives it a universal touch. Ultimately, the inner conscience wins over and Huck rejects the societal values taught by the society, the religion, and helps Jim. The book is noted for colorful depiction of the people along the Mississippi River. It satirizes the attitude of the people of the South, the so-called civilized society. It actually talks about the problems of the people of the South. At that time, the novel is a critic on the life of the people that lived in the South. The story revolves around Huck Jim. Jim is a slave. Both escape from their respective places. The entire novel depicts how Huck saves him. Huck looks up to Jim as his parent. Huck has been brought up in a society where it is supposed that blacks are slaves and they are mere commodity. They can be bartered off, but Huck applies his own instinct and realizes that there is no difference between man and man. The contrast between freedom and civilization permeates the novel. The civilization presents a large obstacle in the attainment of freedom. Issue of slavery, racism has been depicted in a realistic manner. The novel is a satire on society and depicts the folly of it. It has been written in a sarcastic manner. Huck observes his enjoyment with a practical and logical humanic lens and gives realistic depiction. He declares, "All right, then I will go to hell." He says only because to save Jim. He is ready to go to any extent. He is ready to go to hell, but he cannot leave Jim. Thus, He overcomes his conflicts and helps Jim. Slavery and racism have been bitterly attacked by Mark Twain. It becomes the central theme of the novel. Huck helps Jim against traditions of the whites. Mark Twain tries to tell us it is better to listen to one's instinct, that is conscience, rather than to follow the beliefs and traditions of the society. This is what Huck does. Mark Twain, in fact, defines the role of society. A preconceived notion of societal values existed during 1840s that an African American was like a commodity which could be bartered, sold, and used as per the will of the whites. But the author wants to show that all human beings are the same. Huck acts as on his own conscience. Religion has repeatedly been used in this novel. Jim Huck realizes Jim is a human as he is. This gives a universal touch to the novel. This is the most important aspect of the Huckleberry Finn. Mark Twain has also revealed the hypocrisy of the society. The new judge allows Huck to be looked after by his father, knowing that he is unable to of doing so. Moreover, the behavior of Pap also reveals the hypocrisy of the whites. The acts of Lady Widow Watson and Widow Douglas and Miss Watson also depict the same. Huck's childhood is also is one of the themes, since Huck is a child. His behavior changes with his experiences as the novel progresses. Huck even tells lie when the slave hunters are searching for slave Jim. Huck tells that Jim is ill to save him. The author has also touched another aspect of life, which is superstition. Through this theme, Mark Twain wants to depict here as to how the uneducated people believe in superstitions. Here I will describe few superstitions that have been described in the novel. This is one of the important theme of the novel also. Jim and Huck believes in superstitions. They believe in ghosts, witches, devils, and spirits. Their superstitious beliefs make the novel more interesting and ridiculous. Jim tells that talking about a dead man or touching a rattle snake's skin attract sorry bad luck. His prediction sorry sometimes come out to be true also. He is bitten by a snake. Later on, they face many bad luck and difficulties. They blame the snake skin they had seen. They also believe that having hairy arm and hairy chest means good fortune. Huck wears a knot of his own hair around his neck to make himself safe from all evils. Jim also talks about science and says whether science is good or bad. Thus, here we see a number of superstitious beliefs are prevalent among those people who are uneducated and uncivilized. Here, Jim and Huck both are uneducated and not so called civilized, and they represent the whole such kind of people in the south. The author has also given a large number of messages to us. Mark Twain sends a message to the world through his character Huck that organized learning of books and religion cannot take place of emotion, experience, and instinct. We should never conform to the societal bad values. Huck starts thinking rationally and logically with the growth of experiences. He thinks with heart as well as with mind. Finally listens to his inner instinct. Huck proves the quote of Mark Twain. The quote is as wisdom comes from heart and not from mind. Mark Twain says, the novel with a notice sent by a man named Jeep. Here Jeep is none but Jim. The notice says, no one should try to find a motive, moral, or plot in the novel. No pain of various and sundry punishments, etc. The above notice is followed by an advertisement which is self-explanatory notes by Mark Twain, the author. That advertisement tells us that a lot of attention is paid in the book, which is extremely true to life and presents the local color. Thus, the notice and advertisement set the tone of the novel. Hence, we can say that twin depiction of various aspects of the novel, particularly slavery and racial discrimination, raises moral questions, and the answer you will find in my depiction. Thank you. In the next part of the novel, I will come with symbolism or the importance of Mississippi River and a and the novel as a picaresque novel. Why it is a picaresque novel? Thank you. I will explain all these things, and I again request that if you like my expression and narration, please send your advices so that I can learn and you can learn. Thank you.